Okay, I'm going to go over some of these graphs with you to make sure that you're understanding these so there's no confusion of like how to read them and make sure that you're using the right computations like adding and subtracting. So this is called the line plot, and just to remember, the first thing is I would look at the question, how many students read between 12 to 24 minutes? So each of these X's stands for a student, and these stands for minutes of reading. So for example, I can see 2 students read for 25 minutes, or I can see 3 students read for 10 minutes. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And this is the exact same graph as that one, and this one's just asking identify the equation you'd use to identify how many students read less than 20 minutes. So here's 20 minutes, so it means all the students that read for less than 20 minutes are here. And which math problem would tell you these three? And remember, the students are the X's. Bar graphs, so which was planted the least? That would be an easy one. How many fewer beans were planted than beets? So you look at beans and beets, and notice the beets is in the middle. Okay, so you have to think of what number is exactly between 80 and 90. And then you're going to do your math problem based on that. And the key word is fewer. So think about it, is that add or subtract when it's fewer? Identify the equation used to identify how many carrots and cucumbers were planted. So cucumbers and carrots. So again, well, here's carrots. It's right in the middle. So think of what number is exactly between 60 and 70. And then, of course, you can see cucumbers, how much that is. And just find that math problem. And since we want to know how many were all together, think about if it's that add or subtract. And for the cars, you'll notice each car is not worth 1, it's worth 100. But if it's a half a car, I'll tell you this answer because some might be a little tough for it. I know a lot of you will get this. But if it's half a car, then it's half of 100, which is 50. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're answering these questions. So a total difference of 150 miles existed between which two people? So that means when you subtract two numbers here, it's going to give you 150. So think about this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. And I'll tell you right now, 500 is one of them, so Lee is one of them. So which of these three would I subtract to get to 150? Okay, so there's a big clue for you. Okay, so I won't get too more into these clues here, but I'm going to see if we can figure out that one. And then this one, bar graphs, which two flavors, when you add their numbers sold, would equal the number of cherry snow cones sold. So look at cherry. Cherry is 12. So which two, when you add them together, would equal 12? And for those who aren't sure, if you see this grape, that's not 4.5. It's the number between 4 and 6. So you think about what numbers between 4 and 6. Okay? Fewer, you should be able to figure out what fewer means when you're doing those ones. But notice melon and cherry. So it means you have to find out how much is melon and cherry. You add those up. And then how much, and then look at grape. So how many fewer grape was there when you're adding melon and cherry? So be taking these two and then subtracting it with grape. And please take your time with these too, okay? Some of these could be a little tricky. The raffle tickets, each one's worth 100. So again, think of what's half of 100. So second grade students sold 100 more raffle tickets than which grade? So 100 more. So here's second grade. 250. So which one did they do 100 more than? So you have your 3 grade levels there. So how many were sold in all? What I would do is just count the hundreds first. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and just keep counting the hundreds. And then add your 50s at the end to see what the answer would be. Okay, and I'm going to just kind of go through here. And here's more plots. So pennies grabbed to one hand. So this would be 30 pennies, 31 pennies, 32 pennies, and so forth. And this is how many times it was grabbed to one hand by a person, or by a student. So 2 students, for example, grabbed 31 pennies. 4 students grabbed 32 pennies. Okay, so use that to make sure to help you understand when you're reading these questions. Okay, and there's going to be a 3 like that. And this is just an equation one, so how would I identify how many students participated in this whole activity? So it's asking how many students, not how many pennies, because these are the pennies, these are the students. So make sure you're counting the students as you're adding each one over and over again. So, okay, so that's the big thing to keep in mind. And then finally, you're going to end with some bar graphs again, and these ones are in the hundreds. So just remember, if it's like here's 200, I'll tell you this one. This was a trick one. We haven't done this one in the middle. This is 200, and that's 300. This number here for glue is 275. Okay, so the glue is 275 because there's 200, 250, 300 because you're counting by 50s each time. That's why. So that was the only one we have not done yet. So that's 275 for the glue. Okay, and just remember, if you have any questions or if you're stuck with one, you don't have to answer it. You can always send me a message. I will have my phone with me during the day, so I definitely want you to ask me guys questions, and you can stop and don't do any more, and I could help you out, and then you can try to finish it after. Okay, so please email me if you have any questions. Okay, guys, and have a great weekend too.